And welcome to day 85 of the Storage 100 series. I'm Joe Downs with Storage Moguls. And today I want to show you why your lease agreement is your first line of defense. And most operators are using templates that leave them exposed. So we're gonna go clause by clause here today through what matters. And if you want AI powered tools to help you do this in your business, help you analyze and improve your lease, join the Storage Moguls for free at storagemoguls.ai. Storagemoguls.ai. Why .ai? Because we're an AI-powered community with multimodal learning across all storage verticals with free GPT tools and other tools to help power your business. So again, start for free, level up your own pace. And if the community itself wasn't enough reason, how's this? First 500 people to register will get for free the Moguls Deal Analyzer that we use ourselves as a quick analysis tool. You can only get it if you register at storagemoguls.ai. It's storagemoguls.ai, and only the first 500 get it for free. Okay, back to the tenant lease. This lease is not just a piece of paper, folks. It's your single most important tool for risk mitigation. That sounds crazy, right? Well, you need to look at the lease as your first line of defense, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it's going to be your first line of defense against liability and loss. A weak lease exposes your entire business to unnecessary risk. Today, we're going to go break down the key clauses that protect your asset and your bottom line. But let's start with why this document is so critical. It's because the lease is the legal foundation of your entire relationship with the customer. It sets the rules of engagement for everything that happens. And it defines what happens when things go wrong, like non-payment or if there's damage. A strong lease can be your shield against liability lawsuits and operational headaches. And it dictates your rights and the tenant's obligations. This is why we have to focus on specific language, starting with the concept of non-bailment. The non-bailment clause is arguably the most critical clause in your entire lease. Remember, we rent space. We do not take custody of goods. Bailment means you take care, custody, and control of someone else's property, like a valet parking service, for instance. Non-bailment means the tenant is responsible for their own property inside the unit. This distinction shifts the entire liability from on the contents or for the contents squarely onto the tenant. If you fail to establish non-bailment, you become an insurer of their goods, an insurer of their goods. This is a liability that you absolutely cannot afford. This leads us directly to the next key clause, by the way, which limits your exposure even further. And that's the limitation of value clause. The limitation of value clause is very important. You must cap the maximum value a tenant can store in a unit. Recommend a cap of $5,000 per unit if we're just talking self-storage. You're not a bank vault and you don't inspect the goods going in. Therefore, you cannot be liable for an unlimited value if there's a theft or a disaster like a fire. This clause prevents a tenant from claiming they stored $1 million in cash or a Picasso. If a tenant's goods are worth more than $5,000, they shouldn't be in a self-storage unit. This is a non-negotiable risk management tool. All right, now let's talk about what should never be stored in your facility. Because the third key clause is the prohibition of hazardous materials. This protects your assets, your tenants, and your liability all at once. One unit storing flammables or explosives can destroy your entire facility. You must strictly prohibit explosives, fireworks, anything flammable like gasoline or propane, toxic chemicals, industrial waste, and illegal goods are also absolute no-goes. Finally, ban any perishables, no food, because they attract pets that damage other units. Storing hazardous materials can void your insurance policy, by the way, and leave you liable for environmental cleanup. This clause is about protecting the physical integrity of your investment. All right, now let's look at how the tenant lease dictates what we can and can't do with lien laws. Because the lien law is your single most powerful tool as a self-storage owner. This is the clause that gives you the superpower of non-judicial foreclosure. It lets you seize and sell a tenant's goods to recoup any unpaid rent without ever stepping foot inside a courtroom. But this power comes with a strict requirement. Your lease must specifically cite the exact state statute for self-storage liens. I'm going to say it again. The exact state, like as in the state of Pennsylvania, your state's, is a better way to say it, statute for self-storage liens. A generic lease will fail to do that and expose you to legal risks. If you don't follow the statute to the letter of the law, you can be sued for conversion, which is essentially theft. It's like you stole their stuff. And that is a lawsuit you will lose. So make sure your lease is state specific and legally sound. If you're in Pennsylvania, it needs to be a Pennsylvania lease. If you're in Ohio, it needs to be an Ohio lease. All right. Now let's talk about how to shift the liability away from your facility. Because after the lien law, the insurance requirement is the next non-negotiable clause in your lease. You can't be responsible for your tenant's stuff, and this is the clause that proves it. This clause is critical because it shifts liability away from you, the facility owner, and onto the tenant or their insurance carrier. You have two options here. Either the tenant provides proof of their own renter's or homeowner's insurance policy, or they purchase your facility's tenant protection plan. Now, selling the tenant protection plan is a great opportunity for ancillary revenue, which we've already covered somewhere in part in this 100 series. And because it drives recurring high margin income while simultaneously preventing customer liability claims and lawsuits. It's a pure win-win for your business. All right. We love it. All right. Now let's look at how to manage all these critical documents, because managing the paperwork is never fun. But good news, the era of physical filing cabinets is over. You absolutely need to go paperless if you haven't already. Use e-signatures like DocuSign or your management software built-in tools. E-signatures are legally binding in all 50 states and are just as valid as wet ink. This lets you store all your leases securely in the cloud, and ensures they are automatically backed up and accessible from anywhere, with the biggest benefit actually being searchability. You should be able to find any lease in a matter of a couple seconds, not hours. This instant retrieval capability is essential when dealing with legal issues or lien sales. So what do you need to do right now to protect your business if you already own a facility, or what will you be doing when you finally buy one? Well, you're going to need to fortify your legal defense. First, audit your current lease immediately, read it line by line, identify any gaps, then verify the big 5 critical clauses that are present and clear. Third, hire a state-specific self-storage lawyer to update your template. Do not use a generic lawyer. No ambulance chasers, no brother-in-law who does whatever. Fourth, digitize your entire process and switch to e-signatures so you have secure storage and you maintain compliance. And fifth, mandate that insurance. Require proof of coverage or enroll them in your own plan. Finally, train your staff if you have them. Role play lease explanation and enforcement scenarios with your team until they're perfect. That's how you mitigate risk here. All right, that wraps up day 85. And if you enjoyed today, I want you to please like and subscribe and share. We covered a lot. The 5 most critical clauses and your action plan for implementation. It's boring stuff, but it's really important. All right, next up, day 86, we are switching gears to the financial side of the business. We're going to be diving into the K-1 tax form, which is even more exciting than the lease. I know it's not, but you need to understand for your tax returns and have passed through losses because they work in self-storage. And so it's actually kind of in a geeky way, very exciting. If you found today even mildly interesting, though, seriously, low bar here since it's leases and they're boring but important. Go ahead. Tell the world. Show them you're in self-storage. Show them you're a nerd because you watch videos like this. And remember, a strong lease prevents problems. A weak lease creates lawsuits. So take the time and get it right. Your future self will thank you. Inside Storage Moguls, members actually will be able to share their actual lease agreements and the lessons they've learned in the breakout rooms and communities that we'll have. So you should probably go ahead and join for free at storagemoguls.ai. Storagemoguls.ai. And don't forget about the free Storage Moguls Deal Analyzer tool. It's what we use. It's free for you, but only if you're one of the first 500 to grab a seat. and a GPT. I wonder how many are left, actually. I should probably check on that soon, but you should probably register before I do. See you tomorrow.